Hi, my name is Benson. I'm going to be analyzing the dude with the sign on Instagram. I will start off with a little bit of background from him. The dude with the sign is a popular Instagram account and meme that was created by Seth Phillips, a man from New York City. Seth became famous for his quirky, humorous, and often relatable signs that he would hold up in various public places, mainly in and around New York. The signs typically feature brief, sarcastic, and sometimes absurd commentary on everyday life, culture, or trends in the media. He first gained widespread attention in 2019 when he began posting these photos on his Instagram account, which is Dude with Sign. The concept is pretty simple. Seth would stand in a busy public areas like Times Square, hold up a sign with a message written on it, and snap a photo to post on Instagram. The signs would often poke at fun things like social media trends, daily annoyances, or current events. Some examples of his popular sign messages include, "Don't tell me to smile," "Stop making me feel bad about not making plans," "Stop pretending like you're going to brunch," or in this example, "Someone check on Drake." So, what makes Dude with Signs so effective? First, it's his simplicity. He doesn't yell, he doesn't argue, he doesn't write long caption explaining his thoughts. He just holds up a sign and lets the message speak for itself. In a digital world, that simplicity cuts through. Second, his relatability. Phillips never presents himself as an activist or a politician. He's just a guy standing on a sidewalk, holding up a sign that makes you nod and say, "Yeah, he's got a point." That accessibility makes this more serious message easier to digest and harder to ignore. Finally, the format itself. The physical act of holding up a sign is universally recognized as a form of protest, but Seth has reinvented it for the internet age. His silent, deadpan delivery turns each message into a conversation starter rather than a demand. And in a time of constant online conflict, that approach feels refreshing. Whether he's making us laugh with normalized leaving after one drink, or making us think with "your vote matters," he proves that activism doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes all it takes is a piece of cardboard and the right words. At the time of Dude with Sign's launch, Seth Phillips was not a known influencer or celebrity. His credibility was built through authenticity and relatability rather than expertise. By dressing casually and avoiding excessive branding and remaining silent, he positioned himself as an everyman figure. This persona made people trust his messages because he wasn't selling anything and he wasn't portraying any political, one side or the other. His presence on the street of New York, as opposed to a studio or curated backdrop, further reinforced this roots of man of the people. Additionally, his association with Jerry Media, a company well-versed in meme culture and internet virality, gave his account an edge. While this background might seem calculated, it remained hidden behind lo-fi, handwritten aesthetic, preserving the illusion of spontaneity and organic growth. By that, I mean how authentic his handwriting looked like it could have just been a homeless sign if you had just walked right past him and didn't take the time to read the message. But it comes across differently when you read it. To expand on the success of Dude with a Sign, a female counterpart, Dudette with Sign, was introduced. She follows the same format, standing in public, holding up relatable and humorous signs. Some of her signs include, "Why are boys so bad at texting?" "Don't propose on the Jumbotron," and girls can be simps too. The introduction of Dudette with Sign allowed for a broader range of topics, particularly those relating to dating, relationships, and gender norms. The duo has occasionally appeared together, holding up complementary and contrasting signs, reinforcing the comedic culture appeal of their protests. Given his viral reach, Dude with Sign quickly became a sought-after figure for brand collaborations. Some of his most notable partnerships include Netflix, Bud Light, Old Spice, Ryanair, Crocs, and TurboTax. Despite these collaborations, Dude with Sign has maintained his deadpan, nonchalant style, ensuring his brand remains authentic rather than overly commercialized. In a world where political discourse is often as aggressive, polarized, and exhausting as it is, he has found a way to engage in activism without saying a word. He's known for holding up these signs with the humorous messages and initially gained popularity by pointing out minor everyday annoyances. However, as his platform grew, so did the scope of his commentary. This analysis, we will be breaking down how Dude with Sign uses rhetorical strategies to make his political posts resonate in a digital age, where activism and entertainment overlap. Take one of his lesser-known posts, quoted, "The animals impacted by the LA fires still need help." It's a straightforward, urgent message. At the time, the devastating California wildfires left countless animals displaced, injured, and in desperate need of aid. This post wasn't about humor, trends, or the media, or a group of chats. It was just about a real crisis, and yet, unlike his usual viral hits, this one didn't explode across the internet. Why is that? Well, because Dude with a Sign exists in a space where we expect humor. His brand is built upon pointing out life's small annoyances, not its tragedies. When we see his face and his cardboard sign, we anticipate a joke, something that makes us laugh and nod in agreement. But when he shifts to a serious topic, the engagement drops. This raises an important rhetorical question. How do we respond to messages when they come from an unexpected source? If an environmental activist had posted about LA fires, we might have engaged more because we expect them to. But when a comedian does it, we hesitate. We might appreciate the effort, but we don't necessarily take action. This highlights the delicate balance between credibility and emotional appeal and the audience expectation. Let's talk about another one of his posts. It says, "Political relative, it's your time to shine." This post went up in November of 2024, right in the middle of one of the most intense and high-stakes elections in the US. The country was deep in political conversations. Family dinners were battlegrounds, social media was flooded with debates, and everyone seemed to have an opinion. We all have that one relative who thrives on these moments, ready to launch into a full-blown political dissertation at Thanksgiving dinner. So on the surface, Dude with Sign's message was clever, it was timely, but it was something that we could all recognize. Despite that, it didn't generate as much engagement as many of his other posts. This is because humor and politics exist in a delicate balance. His audience comes to him for lighthearted everyday frustrations like bad Wi-Fi, small talk, and group chat etiquette. But politics, that's different. It's messy. And it's not what people expect when they see him standing on a street corner with a sign, just like it is with the LA wildfire protecting the animals post. This post played on humor, but it was also subtly pointed at the exhausting nature of political discussions. It wasn't explicitly left or right, it was just an observation, and yet it didn't take off like his other posts. That's because his credibility comes from being an internet comedian, not a political commentator. His humor is universal, but his politics is deeply personal. So when he wades into those waters, people hesitate. They don't know if they should laugh, engage, or just keep scrolling. There's also the issue of emotional expectations or pathos. People turn Dude with Sign into a break from the chaos of the world. Not as a source of political insight. Even though this post was funny, it still reminds people that they might be trying to avoid something. An election cycle as exhausting as 2024, that probably wasn't what they wanted. His post made sense, it was well-timed, it was relevant, and it was something we all understood, but engagement doesn't just come from logic. It comes from meeting audience expectations. In this case, his audience didn't know what to do with the message. This post is a perfect example of how even the most viral, influential internet figures have limits on their reach and when they step outside their usual lane. It's not that people didn't care, it's that they didn't expect him to be saying it. The next post we're going to be analyzing is the post that says, "These election spam texts are getting out of control." In the digital age where our devices have constant notifications, he has kind of carved a niche by delivering concise, humorous observations that resonate with a broad audience. As I said before, his signs often reflect shared humor and trends in the media. However, he's again addressed the issue of political spam texts with the messages. The reception was notably different from his typical posts. The timing of this post was significant. It led up to November 2024 elections. Many individuals experienced an overwhelming influx of unsolicited political messages. A resident from Boston remarked on receiving texts from various campaigns highlighting the frustration felt by many. Similarly, discussions on platforms like Reddit echoed these sentiments, with users expressing being flooded by political texts, receiving 8 to 10 per day. The message tapped into a widespread frustration, aligning with the collective sentiment of being overwhelmed by unsolicited political communications. This alignment was likely elicited empathy and agreement from his audience, reinforcing shared experiences. The statement presented a straightforward observation, highlighting the excessive nature of political spam texts. Given the context of widespread complaints about messages, the logical appeal was evident, reinforcing the validity of sentiment expressed. Despite the logical appeal, the post engagement metrics were comparatively modest. This disparity can be attributed to several factors: expectation versus content, perceived bias. Political topics are inherently polarized. Some followers might have perceived this post as aligning with a particular political stance, potentially alienating segments of his diverse audience. By November of 2024, discussions about political spam texts were very prevalent. Many individuals had already formulated their coping mechanisms or disengaging from such messages, which could have rendered the post less impactful because they'd already dealt with the experience of having to deal with it and less angering for them. The next post I'm going to be analyzing is the quotes, "Wasn't expecting the first change to be Gulf of America, but okay." The timing of this post is pivotal. In January 2025, President Donald Trump proposed renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, a suggestion that ignited widespread discussion and debate. This initiative was perceived by supporters as a patriotic move, while critics viewed it as a misstep, questioning the significance and practicality. The Dude with a Sign messages captured the people's reflecting the public surprise and unamusement regarding the administration's priorities. This has cultivated a reputation for highlighting grievances with wit and brevity. While his credibility in addressing societal nuances is well established, diving into political matters introduces political challenges. Followers may question expertise or sincerity on such topics given his establishment as a comedic person. The underlying message of this points out the unexpected nature of the administration's focus. It invites followers to reflect on the administration's agenda or lack thereof. This post got significant engagement, with many appreciating the humor and relatability. The blending of current events with Dude with Signs' signature style resonated with a wide audience, sparking discussion and shares. However, some followers remained indifferent. The Dude with Signs post, "Maybe we should clap when the plane lands," humorously comments on the tradition of passengers applauding pilots after a smooth landing. This lighthearted observation contrasts sharply with the tragic events of January 29, 2025, when a mid-air collision between American Airlines flight and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River resulted in 67 fatalities. The Dude with Sign has built a reputation for relatable humor and often highlighting everyday experiences. This post aligned with his established persona, making it accessible to a broad audience. The emotional appeal to this comes from the tragic event where many families in the DC area were affected by the crash. Seth Phillips has a way of making people react quickly. People probably laughed at the simplicity of the post and how true it is. Everyone has seen or heard those claps. His followers likely took to the comments to share their own thoughts, saying things like, "I've done this," or "Why do we even do this?" This type of humor gets people to engage right away. It's the kind of thing that would make them nod along and immediately react. Humor connects people, and the humor in this post works because it taps into something everyone has experienced, even if they've only seen it happen on a plane. People don't just laugh, they enjoy talking about it. It's a great way to get the conversation started. People might have shared their own funny flight stories, maybe about the time that they clapped, or the time they thought the clapping was awkward. This kind of humor helps bring people together because it's something that everyone can relate to. While Dude with Sign uses humor to address a mundane and lighthearted topic, the post could have evoked a sense of relief for people who were still processing the horror of the crash. In a sense, clapping after a safe landing can be seen as a small but significant victory. A shared moment of joy in an otherwise risky and sometimes terrifying experience. In the aftermath of the crash, where lives were tragically lost, this post might have felt like a reminder of the good fortune passengers have when they arrive safely. The emotional relief tied to flying safely would have made the post resonate in a way that might have not otherwise. During a time of collective mourning, some individuals may have been seeking normality. In the end, Dude with Signs' blend of humor, current events, and social commentary allows him to maintain a dynamic and engaging presence on social media. His ability to navigate sensitive topics with wit shows that humor is a versatile rhetoric device, able to entertain, engage, and even inspire. Whether addressing trivial matters or reflecting on significant cultural moments, he continues to use his platform to start conversations, spark emotions, and connect with people in a way that feel both lighthearted and deeply human. Through a rhetorical lens, we see how Dude with Sign employs ethos, pathos, and logos to engage his audience. He established credibility that allows him to make observations that are relatable and universally understood. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.